Picture of Kibra, it is peaceful, no police around. The residents there are saying it is the police who cause violence there. But now let's go to Muthurwa, where our reporter Daniel Muthurwa is there. Muthurwa, how are you? What's the situation like? What's the mood on ground? We know that we expect Raila Odinga to use that route. What's like on ground?
Good afternoon, and of course we are along Jogoo Road, and this is actually just next to the Muthurwa market, where normally on any normal day this is a very busy highway with vehicles passing into the town and vehicles coming out of town. But as you can see right now, this very road has been turned into an arena of clashes between police officers on one hand and members or sections of youth who are here and who are trying to access the Nairobi CBD. And if we can walk with my cameraman, as you can see, these are police officers here who have staged a barricade, a human barricade, just trying to prevent this very youth from accessing the central business district. And remember, from here to Kamukunji is basically a walking distance, and that is where the opposition leader Raila Odinga had the Saba Saba rally, and he arrived at around 1 p.m. addressed briefly the very supporters who had gathered there, and said, and thereafter launched a signature collection in protest of the President William Ruto administration, and then said that he will be now heading into this Nairobi Central Business District, and actually saying that an evening rally will be held at Central Park, which is just at the Central Business District. And so the opposition leader left. There were a number of opposition MPs who were there, and that includes Otiende Amolo, who is the Rarieda MP, Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, and a number of opposition leaders. But conspicuously missing was Odinga's running mate in the 2022 presidential election, Kenya Party leader Martha Karua. But of course, as we heard, they had sent their representatives to the rally, and the message there was that this is the beginning of a journey to liberate the country. That is what the opposition leader said, and thereafter left, saying they will not make public their route to the Nairobi Central Business District, but asked those who had congregated there, of course, to head to the CBD for a mother for rally. And so, as you can see, this is where we had passed, headed to the Nairobi CBD, of course, to wait or to monitor the situation and the caravan of the opposition leader. But on arriving here, we found police officers and a confrontation, to say, pitting youths who had already started to make their way into the CBD and the police officers who are here. 12 p.m. there was no sight of police officers, and we only saw. As you can see, no movement is taking place here, and even as you can see, motorcycles have been asked to turn. Of course, as you can see, that is a police officer asking the border rider and the pillion passenger. And actually, as you can see, that is a tear gas canister being lobbed at the very residents or youth who are here. And stones have been hurled actually at our direction as well. Of course, as you can see, the confrontation keeps coming on, subsiding for quite some time. But of course, that is the situation here. And we are actually here to see what will be happening, whether these youths will be relenting ultimately, or maybe the police officers will not be able to keep them at bay. But of course, the police officers seemed armed to the teeth just to ensure that these very youth do not make their way into town. And so we have actually pitched camp here briefly, monitoring the situation here, running battles actually. Tear gas canisters, as you can see, those are the sounds of tear gas canisters being lobbed. Of course, as you can see, people, some of them scampering for safety. Another tear gas canister actually being thrown by hand. And of course, clouds, white clouds of tear gas smoke that are actually on almost every corner of this place. And that actually paints the picture of what this day is developing to be. And actually, I'm quite feeling the tear gas into my eyes. So I'll be trying maybe to squint a little, but as you can see, this is what the day is developing to be, having begun slightly peaceful, and of course this follows calls by the opposition telling police officers not to interrupt with their rally, but then the police officers, as we saw earlier on today, the very security team that is in charge of Nairobi, saying in as much as it wants the very rally at Saba Saba to be peaceful, they do not want anyone to enter into the Nairobi CBD with the intention to disrupt and to cause any mayhem or any loss of property. And so, as you can see, it is quite a very tense situation, very full of activity. Of course, the border riders would come here in tents trying to access the CBD have been turned away, and police officers here are doing their most to ensure that no one accesses the Nairobi CBD. That is, of course, the central traffic police vehicle just heading into Shauri Moyo, where we had come from and where the rally was taking place, and just to ensure that no one who is part of the opposition's thing today does not access the CBD. And so back to you. Of course, we'll be here and we'll be updating you and our viewer when we get more from this very part of the Nairobi CBD, as well as other parts where we will be pitching camp.
Thank you very much, Daniel Muthurwa. As you follow up on that, just be careful. We know that the situation there is not conducive right now. But we still go back to Kamukunji as that entourage is making its way to the Nairobi CBD. Let's cross over there and watch on the live pictures coming from Kamukunji. Remember that Raila Odinga is making his way to the CBD, that is the Central Park, where he will be holding a rally a bit later. Remember that it is your right to demonstrate according to Article 37. But Nairobi Police Boss Adams Bungei had stated that Azimio Coalition and the luminaries would not be allowed to enter into the CBD, but they were allowed to have their rally in Kamukunji. Those are live pictures as that entourage makes its way from Kamukunji going towards the CBD. But what we've witnessed so far is police have been deployed, making sure that that procession does not get into the CBD. Adams Bungei had given that directive that Azimio and the protesters are allowed to go to Kamukunji but not to get into the CBD. We've just witnessed our reporter Daniel Muthurwa bringing us up to speed near Muthurwa, which is a walking distance to Kamukunji. Police officers barricading roads. There is also exchange with protesters over there, tear gas being lobbed. Our reporter also finding himself in the middle, not being able to do his job very well. But then again, today is Saba Saba Day, and Azimio have held their rallies today. They continue to demand that the issues they continue to raise be handled by the government. Key among them is that today they've launched a signature collection exercise, and they want to get over 10 million signatures that will show that Kenyans really want change, that the government listens to them. And key on the issues that they've been raised is the high cost of living. Remember that President William Ruto signed the finance bill, which is now an act of parliament, that increased taxes on various commodities, including fuel, which also later saw EPRA give directive on fuel despite existence of a court order. Raila Odinga says that its procession was supposed to be peaceful, but that as at now, with his entourage being attacked, tear gas canisters being thrown to it, being blocked from accessing the CBD, is something that we continue to follow up on. Remember that Raila Odinga wants the recruitment of IEBC commissioners, that they be included in the process. Earlier, the Kenya Kwanza team that sits in the bipartisan talk said that they will continue with the process because the law demands that IEBC is in place. Earlier also with our reporter Ode Francis bringing us up to speed from Kibra, he says Kibra is peaceful. People are going about their businesses as usual, apart from business premises that have been closed down in anticipation of the in anticipation of the protest that will be happening today. Matatu operators saying that today they've not had a lot to do because people have not gone to the CBD. The situation is even to that gentleman who said early in the morning he was going to work but was asked to go back because of they didn't know what to expect because of the demonstrations today. Raila Odinga says that his protest ought to be peaceful, asking the police, asking the government to let them go and exercise their right according to Article 37 that gives them the right to picket, to assemble and to demonstrate, but in a peaceful manner. These are live pictures coming from Muthurwa. Our reporter is based there. He's following up on what is happening, going the extra mile. Tear gas being lobbied closer to him. But this is just what we do as the media. We go straight and bring you the story as raw as it gets. We continue to follow up on these. Also earlier in Kisumu, we were speaking with our reporter, that is Bramwell Bwire, bringing it up to speed on the situation in Kisumu. It says accessing the CBD from different parts of the country, from Kakamega, from Busia, is a tall order. No one can access the CBD easily because of the riots that were witnessed in the CBD. But today, we continue to follow up on the Saba Saba rally that also happened in Mombasa. Earlier in the morning, police had a good conversation with the locals there who were demonstrating and picketing. They had their petition that they wanted to take all the way to the county commissioner's office, but they were not allowed to do that despite the police telling them to be peaceful, to take care of Mombasa because that is their home. A few minutes later, tear gas was lobbied to them as they made their procession towards that. In Nairobi, we continue to follow up on what is happening on that story. Will Raila make it all the way to Central Park? Will he have his rally later in the day? We wait to see that, but you continue to follow his entourage as he makes his way from Kamkunji, making his way to the CBD. And yes, we will be going back to Kibra and touch base with our reporter Francis Ode, who is following up on what is happening there. Ode, right here. We will be going back to our reporter Francis Ode, who is based in Kibra, as he brings us up to speed on what the situation is like in Kibra. Remember, during the previous demonstrations that were called by Azimio, there were fracas in Kibra. We even saw a church that was put on fire. We saw that there was exchange battles between the police and the locals. But today, Kibra is peaceful. Kibra is quiet. But even immediately after that, we saw religious leaders stepping in and making sure that peace is realized in Kibra. But now, Ode, you are in Kibra. The place is quiet today. It is peaceful. Locals are there with you. Why is it peaceful? Why don't you have police there today? And how are they feeling because businesses are shut?
Yes, indeed. The question is why, but again, the answer is they just said it's peace. But again, I am at where exact place? It's called Kamukunji in Kibra, where the Azimio leader normally holds his rallies here in Kibra. And I just wanted to find out, why is it that this place is so calm today? We don't have anti-riot police. We don't have police in uniform manning this place. And maybe to just talk to one, there's this one resident of Kibra who has just decided to tell us that tumechoka. Kwa nini mumechoka?
Tumechoka na sababu uchumi imeenda juu sana. Tunataka serikali ya Kenya afadhali atupunguzie bei za chakula. Ndio imefanya niandike hii tumechoka. Na tumechoka ukweli. Utaona Kibira hii Kamkunji. Hii ndio Kamkunji mahali hata baba akikuja hapa anakuanga na rali yake. Na vinyo umeona sahi hakuna watu. Hii moto unaona hapa, hii moto tulichoma asubuhi wakati tulikuwa tuna bless wale wanaenda town. Na sisi kama wazae tumebaki hapa tulinde hapa boma. boma hizi baki peke yake, na tumechoka kwa sababu tunataka Ruto akae chini aongee na Wakenya wote, asikie kilio chetu, asikuwe tu huko State House na deputy yake anaitwa Kachagwa atieni mtoto ya Mau ati mustuni si ya Boratam. Mustuni ya Boratam Kachagwa najua ni mustuni ya State House. Hii ya Boratam sio mustuni ambao Kachagwa anaweza kutuambia yeye ni mtoto ya Mau. Sisi ndio watoto ya maandamano, na maandamano litaleta uchumi chini Kenya hii.
Hapa ni Kamukunji, kwa kawaida kuna kuaga hapa na umati sana. Umesema wewe ni mzee, ulikuwa umewabless na mkawasha moto hapa, labda unipeleke kwa hiyo moto, mlikuwa mnamaanisha nini?
Asubuhi hii moto, vijana walikuja asubuhi. Hii moto ndio tuliwakisha hapa. Hii moto tuliwakisha hapa asubuhi, vijana wakuwe na blessing yetu ya kuenda town. Sisi tumebaki hapa kama wazee, tulinde boma juu. Sisi tulianza maandamano ya Saba Saba ile ya kitambo. Sasa tangu tufanye Saba Saba ya kwanza, wacha kutusumbua sisi bwana. Vijana tumepeleka town, wameenda town, wameenda na blessing yetu.
Yes, these are some of the things that they are saying they did before they left here. They blessed those that went for Saba Saba protest, and they're claiming that before they left, they did a few things here. They roasted maize and some meat before the protesters left to the Saba Saba protest. Maybe I talk to a young person who today hasn't actually gone to the protest and find out why. Unaitwa nani?
Mimi naitwa Steve.
Kwa nini unaenda maandamano?
Sisi sijaenda, hata sasa naandamana, hakuna kazi yenye nafanya.
Unafikiria ndio mbinu mpya sasa?
Hiyo sasa ndio mbinu. Because sasa sijaenda maandamano, sijapanda gari, hiyo natumia pesa. Serikali inapata ushuru. Mimi nimeenda maandamano. Sisi sijaenda, niko maandamano. Azi.
Okay, we are still doing rounds in Kibra to just find out if indeed we are having protesters away from those that are silent and relaxing within Kibra. I can confirm, yes, there is calmness in Kibra, and I'm told there are...
Tumechoka. Ruto, tumechoka. Kwanza mimi nimechoka sana.
Kwa nini umechoka?
Kwa sababu gani? Ruto alitupromise akiweke Biblia chini hivi unga itashuka. Sasa hii unga ni 220. Sukari kilo moja 230. Tunaenda wapi? Mimi naambia Ruto, kwa hiyo kiongozi, kwa hiyo kiti hautakaa milele, lakini nataka kukutoa sisi wenyewe wa Kenya. Tumechoka na uongozi mbaya. Na Kachagwa, ukiongea hivyo, wewe peke yake sio vice president kwa hii Kenya. Tulikuwa na Kalonzo na wengine. Na ukaa ukijua chuma yako iko motoni kama hapa.
Yes, those are some of the sentiments of Kibera residents here in Kamukunji. Back to in studio.
Thank you, Ode, coming straight to us.